All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to House Party 5v5. We're in Game 2 of Season 4. It's going to be Space Age Wizards versus the Luckerdogs. And I am, of course, Declabase, being joined by my good co-caster, Mr. Stein.
Hey there, Deck. This is a really exciting matchup, especially for the first week, because they have Space Age Wizards, the winner of last season's minor league, so they got auto-promoted, versus the Luckerdogs, who have the new player with the single most hypest pickup, Akanda, who is the new AD carry, who's the highest, I believe he's the highest rated player in the Premier League right now at Master Tier. So it'll be a really interesting matchup, see how the new guys fare off, especially considering he's playing against Kuro Sekai, who's a Diamond 5 AD carry himself, who was I believe, was it Season 2 champion?
I believe you are right. And already we're seeing the bans coming out. We've got Tristana and Thresh being banned out from Space Age Wizards. Looks like they don't really want to give Tristana over to Akanda. I can't really imagine why you wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah, Tristana is probably I would say the strongest AD carry in this match. Does a ton of damage, the team cut resets, fantastic scaling, and has the ability to stumble the laning phase very well off all of the damage given to the E. In the prolonged skirmishes, which is kind of how bot lane has become with the tankier supports, Tristana and Vayne have become like the two kings, and Vayne is not very popularly played in Akanda's match history.
Oh, but it wouldn't put it past me that he'd be able to play it well. Now, we do see, of course, Nidalee, Soraka being banned out. I think that Soraka right now is kind of underrated as a support because she does work very well with a lot of these Juggernauts, and believe it or not, she also works very well against a lot of these Juggernauts. So, it's one of those things
just
where...
so annoying to play against.
Exactly. Like, as long as she can just get to stand where she is and spam heals and be able to be a nuisance, there's nothing you can do about it. So, if you're not bursting her down, then she can just keep healing everybody up. Vayne being banned out, alright, so that's 80 carry from both teams. And the first pick, Braum, coming out. Now, we have seen Tyzer play Braum in the past, and he has had some success on it. And Braum is in a really good spot right now because he happens to be pretty good against a lot of Juggernauts.
He's not only good against Juggernauts, but he's good about how the mid lane is shaped because of Juggernauts. Against these really tanky, high-damage threats in teamfights, you can't exactly play Assassins, other than the occasional Ahri, who's a bit more of a mage than Assassin, and kind of, I don't know, Twitch, who's consistently getting buffed. It becomes very hard to play Assassins into the Juggernauts in teamfights, so this tank who's able to eat a bunch of poke, has the shield, the stand behind me, is able to also affect two lanes at once, while just being a pick from the bot lane, and also being an absolute terrifying pick in the bot lane as well if you just get hit by Q once.
We do see the Alistar Kalista combo coming out. A very common bot lane when playing Kalista, specifically because there's nothing scarier with Kalista than throwing Alistar in the middle of the enemy team, because now he doesn't have to use his headbutt to go in. He can use his headbutt to knock somebody into his team.
I mean, or further away in some cases.
Or further away, you know, depending upon how good or bad your Alistar is.
But a really interesting early prioritization on the Alistar. I don't think you have to rush the pick, but it shows a sign from Luckerdog saying, we want to wait. We want to see what else is being thrown at us because we are a versatile team enough that doesn't think they have to aggressively reach out and pick anyone.
Well, see, that's the thing, is that Better Call Saul has actually played Alistar a number of times, and we know for a fact that Akanda has played Kalista, so it's two champions that they're kind of comfortable with that also are not really bad right now. Now, I don't know how they will fare against this Freljord team that is being built. I have not seen a Braum Ash lane in a while, but as I recall, it's very obnoxious in terms of how much CC it has.
Oh, it's terrifying, because if you step out of place once, you can just get locked up completely. If Braum lands one Q, the stun is pretty much assured. I want Galzrin to not play that Sejuani, especially towards the end of the minor league. Galzrin was brought in as the jungler. Galzrin did a very, very good job but I didn't like his Sejuani play that much. It was good at times. It was a great team fighter. And I don't mean it was a bad pick by any means. It just wasn't a great pick. It wasn't one of his stronger picks. And I would love to see him on a different tanky initiator. I loved his Jarvan play last season. I liked his Rek'Sai play as well. I would have liked not this Sejuani pick.
And see, I think that it might just be they're trying to predict the way the meta is going to go, because maybe Sejuani will be back. I'll play Sejuani more again. And I don't think that that's the case. I think that Sejuani is just going to keep falling off as these tankier top laners are played, because she can put out a decent amount of damage, but she just can't compare to fighting Darius. I don't actually think she can kill Darius if he is playing correctly. Garen, if she even tries to fight often, Garen will kill her. Even Fiora, I think she might be able to fare against.
I'm really hoping we do see a damage threat for Overdose Panda here in the top lane, because this is a comp that doesn't do a ton here, or that doesn't do a lot of damage. There's a ton of lockup, there's a ton of CC, but it's going to be a lot based off of Deadbeat's positioning. If Deadbeat's able to be run down by W1S on this Olaf, which I believe is a fantastic pick, if by W1S on this Olaf, then it's going to be really awkward coming up for the mid lane. Overdose Panda does lock into Gnar. He's had some success with Gnar. Gnar is a pretty decent pick into Olaf, able to harass it pretty well and be a good lane bully, and another great Wombo team fighter.
Yeah, I think right now they have this really insane AoE team fighting comp, because they have the Victor, they've got the Gnar, they've got Sedge ults, they've got Braum ults, they've got Ashe, they've got everything they want.
Except damage. I don't
Except
think this.
damage.
Yeah, if this goes into a very late game stage where you have the Olaf who's able to just run through this, if you shut down Victor, if you shut down Ashe, if they don't have a strong laning phase, and they can get into a lot of trouble. Now, though it's not in Chapanga's champion pool, I would love to see the Lulu or the Orianna as well. Just some sort of speed up option for W1S to really get into these fights more, and more shields. So you're able to kind of protect the carries a little bit more against this Wombo, against this threat, and against this low damage comp. Would really not like to see. I'm okay with the Yari pick, but would not have liked to see the LeBlanc there because of all of Victor's point and click damage. But
I'm not really sold on the LeBlanc. I've played a lot of LeBlanc, and I know that Victor is a matchup that's kind of weird.
It's entirely dependent
like
on which slow skill shot is
right,
or which slower skill shot is easier to hit, the Victor E or the jump. But
I do like the Arya into it. I mean, we've seen it before. We will see it many other times, because Victor is very strong, Ahri is very strong right now, so of course you're probably going to see those two being picked if it's not Azir or like Twisted Fate every once in a while, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but anyway, if he's able to get on top of Deadbeat, he's able to be that remove that component that Space Age Wizards really needs to have this extended team fight win. But either way, I have to say I really like the Luckerdogs comp here, because I love this Olaf pick. This Olaf is a fantastic answer to is the Freljord-based fantastic answer to dealing with all of the CC from the Freljord squad.
Yeah, I do like what they've done with it so far. I'm interested to see how the Rek'Sai is going to play out for the Luckerdogs, because we've seen a lot of like these kind of tanky Rek'Sais being played more now, instead of playing the assassin style Rek'Sai that we saw for a while. And I'm interested to see how that's going to work against this Freljord team, because, I mean, if you get CC'd, you're going to be CC'd for a while.
I wonder if there might be, because there's also this trend of these hybrid Rek'Sai builds, where you get the Black Cleaver and then you go into the Titanic Hydra based off of the Cinderhawk build. It has a ton of HP, it has a good bit of tankiness to it, and it also, if you're able to get onto a target, you're able to do a lot. It also synergizes very well with Rek'Sai's general AoE damage.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see what they're going to do with it. So I guess we can briefly touch on these two teams, because they are teams that we are at least more familiar with than some of the people from the last teams. We have Space Age Wizards, who did come from the minor league last season. They played very well, and their captain is Overdose Panda, who, again, I've seen him play Gnar. He's played it very well. I've seen him play Maokai. He's played it very well. So he's a very solid top laner, I guess, and that makes it good for him to be the captain because he doesn't really get in a lot of situations where he always loses his lane. He's always going like even or been a little bit behind or ahead one way or the other. And of course, on the other side, we have the Luckerdogs, whose team captain is Better Call Saul. They haven't changed a whole lot from their team comp from last season. They do have Akanda, of course, and they have Surfon. But besides that, everybody else is pretty much the same. And I don't know. I am excited to see how these guys are going to play out. I'm pretty sure that it's going to be a little bit of a crazy match, particularly because Space Age Wizards are going to be the up-and-comers who are new to the Premier League and want to show what they've got. Well, Caster's going to be taking a brief break while we wait for the loading screen. Catch you guys on the Rift. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Game 2 of our Season 4 first day of games for House Party 5v5. I am, of course, Declavase, and being joined today by Mr. Stein.
Really looking forward to Game 2 of the day between Space Age Wizards and the Luckerdogs. In the top lane for Space Age Wizards, we have Overdose Panda on his Gnar. Bot lane, Kuro, Sekai, and Tyser on Ashe and Braum. Galzarin in the jungle on the Sejuani, and Deadbeat V2 on Victor. For the Luckerdogs, we have Shapanga on the Ahri, Surfon on the Rek'Sai in the jungle, Lemonas and his Olaf in the top lane, Akanda and Better Call Saul in the bot lane, with Ballista and Alistair. Now,
we kind of talked about it a little bit, but I am still a little bit confused about this Sejuani pick for the first one. But maybe they just kind of want to go with the theme for the first picks for their season.
There's bonus points if all of one region plays together. If you're able to get the Ionia comp, then your team does a percent more passive on hit damage for every third hit. Because it's Riot, so everything they would implement would have a third hit structure.
Well, of course.
We see an interesting invade setup here. They get one ward, don't push any further into it, trying to wait until someone to face check it alone, but instead they just walk out, do it pretty safely.
Minions have spawned.
And it looks like they're just using that vision to kind of get an idea of who's going where. We are seeing bot side is going to be taking the Krugs, by the looks of it, and we will see Overdose Panda and Galzarin are going to share the topside camps. So, kind of what we saw last game, but on the other side. And Weminus is starting at blue? Oh, okay. This is kind of weird. So, they're starting the blue side and giving it to Weminus, I assume, is what's going to happen. Or possibly give it to Surfon? I don't know. Nope, they're going to give it to Weminus, maybe. Nope, okay, whatever.
Yes,
Make me a liar.
They might, they won't. But
because
anyway,
it looked like for a second that, oh, okay, they're going to give it to Weminus because Surfon doesn't have any mana and doesn't benefit too greatly from this minimal CDR this early. But, whatever.
It doesn't hurt him by any means. Better Call Saul messes up the combo a little bit. They're able to return some damage from Kuro. Tyser and Kuro are able to return a little bit of damage onto it, but Akanda jumps forward and is able to get it to level 2. But anyway, the double jungle is successful. Gets Overdose, Panda, Galzarin, Surfon, and Weminus all level 2, all into the lane at the right time, and overall working out.
And I think, unfortunately, it didn't work out for Kuro and Tyser, because they were expecting, okay, we'll be able to get the level advantage, but instead, they would have been even, but Akana and Better Call Saul had slightly better positioning in a slightly better level 1, and they were able to kind of leverage that and just get a little bit further ahead.
Even with Better Call Saul missing the Headbutt Pulverize combo from both, only really keeping Tyser there, and Tyser being the tankier with more in-build sustain with the Relic Shield right now.
We'll see a little bit of movement coming around. It looks like Surfon's going for that topside Scuttle Crab. Might see a gank coming out early from him towards topside. Galzarin taking a lot of damage at this red buff and getting spotted out by a ghost.
Two ghosts.
Like he's going to have to back.
Again, I just don't like the Sejuani pick, because it's also a great position in Callisto Ghost from Akanda. Allows Surfon to know that he's able to invade into the topside jungle, take a couple camps, place his Trinket Ward down, and possibly get that gank onto Overdose Panda if Overdose Panda pushes out at all here.
Yeah, it's really weird, too, because you wouldn't really expect... Oh, that's a whole lot of damage coming out from that Reckless Swing.
Those Reckless Swings do a lot there. But Overdose Panda does turn around with the 3-hit proc from his W passive, from the Hyper Autos.
Surfon's kind of hanging in the wings, though. He's ready to go in, even if Overdose Panda goes Mega. I think he'll have to wait until Overdose Panda goes Mega, though, because I'm pretty sure that he's not going to be trying to fight Weminus until he is.
I mean, I think it depends on how he uses his jump. If he uses his jump to invade when he's Mega to try to get a positive trade, then that's definitely the perfect opportunity for Surfon to jump in and really cause a lot of problems.
Oh, definitely. And it's slowly bot side going the other way. Of course, they're pushing back, but not really going to put them ahead in CS at all. They're going to be a little bit behind. And now it's kind of frozen just outside the turret. Not a good spot to be in. Surfon going in for the dive. And
A quick flash, a quick
nice
flash E. They're able to get on top of it. They are able to get the slow, and that's going to be first blood over to Surfon. A great gang coming out from W1S and Anaconda. Would have liked to see Overdose Panda flashing a lot earlier. Maybe flashing the axe as soon as you see the ghost pop there. But either way, great positioning, great teamwork coming out from Surfon and W1S. And, you know, the new jungler showing up for the Luckerdogs.
Yeah, I think that he was... I think Overdose Panda was expecting to be ganked, but I don't think he was expecting to get flash ganked. Because
Yeah, I don't
he
think
jumped away
that
and then immediately got
aggressively.
flashed onto it.
Great positioning, great timing from Surfon to make sure that he was able to get the flash and burrow right on top, right as it needed to happen. And a big early lead coming out from W1S, who's going to be the disruption threat that Luckerdogs are looking for to really win this fight, win these mid to late game team fights.
And I think that it's very good because Surfon did spend a lot of time up there, so long actually that Galzarian was able to go and clear his red buff, despite the fact that he had to go back and buy. And that did put him a little bit ahead of Surfon in terms of actually clearing jungle camps, but at the same time, Surfon is actually showing that he's willing to put forth some jungle pressure. He has ever walking over a ward and he doesn't realize it just yet.
But either way, he's playing this Rek'Sai in a way that I don't think a lot of junglers in House Party do. He's playing it in this aggressive early ganking style that's very strong, and that's one of Rek'Sai's biggest strengths. He's looking to impact the map and not just pick a farm to 6 team fight jungler, which, like the Sejuani, like the Wukong last game, is something that isn't often punished enough by House Party junglers.
We do see Surfon having to leave, not really getting anything out of it, but on the plus side, he did give a little bit more room over to Anaconda. They already are ahead, so this will just put them a little further ahead. W1S taking a lot of damage from that Hyper, and it looks like Overdose Panda is about to go Mega and is going to probably just kind of clear out some minions.
Yeah, I still don't think he's in a position to really jump and try to aggress on W1S by any means. A good charm coming out from Shipanga, hitting Deadbeat there, getting a good bit of damage on him.
They're seeing a double Dorans coming out from Shipanga early. Not something that you see too terribly often, but it is very good when playing Ahri. It allows you to very easily get a lot of sustain up, in particular with her orb and with the passive that she gets from healing. So I'd like to see a little bit of roaming coming out. I'm assuming that because she went for the boots early, she's going to be going for maybe an early Sork Shoes. And that would definitely allow her to roam around a lot and not have to use her ult to initiate anywhere.
I'm also wondering what she's going to pick as her first big pull item. Is she going to go for a Ludens and be that supercharged mid-game assassin that Luckerdogs might be looking for? Or is she going to go for a safer option, maybe get a Abyssal Scepter, try to heal up or try to protect herself from some of the poke from Deadbeat here. But here's a dive coming out. Shipanga and Better Call Saul start the dive. A beautiful ultimate from Overdose Panda. W1S able to pick up the Kuro, and a big wombo coming out from Galzarian as well. Deadbeat's able to pick up on the backside. It's a double kill over to Overdose Panda. There's still fighting going on here. Shipanga, W1S is ghosting, and yes, a triple kill over to Overdose Panda after a beautiful teleport ultimate, a double kill coming out to Victor, and a fantastic team fight and anti-dive coming out from...
Space Age Wizards.
Yeah, from Space Age Wizards.
Losing your breath after that fight. Yeah,
a little bit.
It was really weird too, because like I saw the dive come out from Luckerdogs. I'm like, why are you doing this? You don't know where Galzarian is, and you know the Deadbeat is following you.
You don't know where Galzarian is, you know that Deadbeat is following you, and you know Overdose Panda is in Mega.
Yeah, like Overdose Panda's in Mega. You have no idea where Galzarian is. Deadbeat is chasing, and you're fighting under a tower.
I mean, even... That was a great combo from Better Call Saul to hit both targets. That was a good early roam from Surfon and Shipanga to get there and start the damage. But Tyser and Kuro lived as long as they could. They peeled for themselves very well. Yes, they peeled for Sigil. And Tyser had a ton of disruption to just trap people under that turret and let Deadbeat come in and pick up a lot of kills. And then Overdose Panda with the beautiful gallop backwards get the 3-man stun and really lock people up.
I really got to commend Tyser though, because he used the Glacial Chasm, the Glacial Fissure, as a response to Shpanga dashing in. So Shpanga didn't actually get one of the full distance dashes, so he could not get in range to do anything. And Tyser already had the shield up, so even if he did get in range, he had to go through that.
A quick, big arrow coming out from Sigil. They're jumping back onto Tyson though. It's a 3v3, but a little bit. Galzerin's on the wrong side of the wall. He's not able to get an ultimate. They're going to turn around in a second. They're able to lock up Akanda. They're doing some damage, but there's not enough damage to really follow up. They're trying to get the stun. There's a beautiful glacial person coming out, and a kill coming out for Kuro Sakai.
Man, it's one failed gank after another, because once again, we questioned Galzerin's pick of this Sejuani, but both times he's been around, big things have happened, because he's been in a really good position to be able to dive in as everything has been used.
We see an all-in coming in the mid-lane from Shpanga here. He's jumping in on Deadbeat. Deadbeat does go down. A good combo. Shpanga realizing he has the damage. He's gotten enough poke down onto Deadbeat. Deadbeat's out of Summoners, not able to run away as safely, and, jumps all in and gives a good kill over to Luckerdogs.
But to talk about the Galzerin pick, though, he has used the Glacial Prison. Every time he's used it after everything else has already been blown by the enemy team, so they're unable to get out, they're unable to do anything. And that just forces more damage onto those targets. In particular here, they managed to get Surf on and stun him up after it ended, so there was nothing he could do. He had flash, but he couldn't flash over the wall because he was CC'd still.
I was a little bit worried about Galzerin's pathing at first in the start of that fight. He was locked on the other side of the wall, but was able to walk around just enough time, and I thought when he entered, he started ulting. I was completely wrong in the animation. My play-by-play was off. But he was able to hold it on for just long enough that they were able to get the turnaround, get the numbers, and get the protection going over to Kuro. As Kuro lands another arrow onto Akanda, Better Cross All is able to start to peel for it, and that's 2 ultis down for pretty much nothing. But no matter what, some good harass coming out for Wizards.
Okay, so thinking of it from the oversight of the game, that might be useful for them because Akanda doesn't have a whole lot of his name right now. He does have a Vampire Scepter. But what might happen is they might try and make a play towards Dragon soon, and they want to get Akanda as low as possible. Now, unfortunately, they didn't really get anything else out of it, and they can't really get in a good position to be able to get that passive onto Akanda to stun him.
Even so,
spotted out by a ward.
It's a question of sustain. You do have Better Call Saul there, but Surf on positioning in the top lane, trying to sit in the bush, possibly trying to shut down Overdose Panda after Overdose Panda had such a big early team fight, and trying to play a little bit aggressive. Well, not, I guess, trying to bait him in here, but turns on the ultimate. That's a lot earlier flash than last time. Turns on the ultimate, turns on the ghost, which is probably too much move speed, especially after missing that axe. But Overdose Panda just flashes away and gets to safety.
I'm seeing maybe... No, it looks like they're not going to go towards Dragon, but I was hopeful, possibly, but looks like they don't want to go for that. Good job on Overdose Panda, though, holding that flash, managing to get out and not die, which is quite a feat against the same gank that he almost died to before and has died to previously, so... Surfon really wants to kill him.
We see the teleport being hit on by both top laners here. W1S in a little bit more of a forward position. Overdose Panda is about to go Mega, but he's a bit spread out on this fight. He's doing a fantastic job just zoning off the team, getting a lot of damage over the W1S, and that's the first Dragon going over to Space Age Wizards.
And if you see, W1S actually used Ghost relatively early, so he did use something.
Oh, but the big stun! That's a lot of ultimates coming out, and that's a very dead Shpanga. Dude, didn't respect Overdose Panda simply walking at him.
So, I mentioned it briefly before, and I said, if this Freyr-style team catches you'll be CC'd for a while. And that's exactly what I meant. Because Shpanga was CC'd for so long in the middle of that. Because you get, what? A second and a half on the Meganar stun, and then another second and a half on Glacial Prison. So
and then how long is it on top of Victor's Gravity Field as well?
Yeah, and then Victor's gravity field adding another second and a half or so. So that's like 4.5, between 4 and 4.5 seconds of you're stunned, and there's nothing you can do about it. On Ari, who of all people is really squishy and relies on being able to run away.
Yeah.
Gotta respect the stuns.
Space Age Wizards was very strong last season in the minor league for just saying, go. We have the fight advantage. We are ready for this. Go. And just picking a fight and winning it pretty much immediately. And they brought them to the major leagues, and they're doing it very well.
I recall one of their games, they ended with this fantastic wombo combo where they just kind of slammed into the enemy's tower like, oh, we're in a position and we can dive. Sure, let's dive. We're ahead. We know that we can fight them. And they just... Sure, they almost died in our tower, but they killed everybody and won.
They almost died in the tower, but the enemy team definitely died in the tower.
Exactly. like they almost died, but everyone else certainly died.
I think that was the Sejuani Annie Ori ultimate combo.
Yes. Oh my god, they're so beautiful. I still have that replay. It's fantastic.
But anyway,
Panda doing a little bit of damage with that, throwing clock towers. Probably my favorite skin for Gnar.
You know, I'm a little bit disappointed there's not a Panda Gnar skin, because it definitely would fit Overdose Panda's aim very, very well. But...
What would it even throw? Would it like throw big stalks of bamboo? Or would it just like grab like a house, like a bamboo house, and throw it?
Yeah, a bamboo house. He could rock a bamboo house. He could be throwing forests. Anyway, we see a little bit of trading as Surfon is standing on a ward. He trades the ward for a little bit of HP from Deadbeat's laser, and bot lane there's some extended trading as well. And Agata gets a couple passive stack, or a couple of Ren stacks onto Kuro. He's able to pop them off, but both sides playing pretty safe. Shemanga is roaming bot lane again. They have a 4-man squad here, but
and they did just clear out the ward too, so there's no vision knowing that Shemanga is here.
No, but walking down, Deadbeat had enough control of the lane to know that this is where he's going. And with the turret, tier 1 turret in mid lane being gone already, they're able to watch the minions push up and kind of scout that out for them and let them know they're not waiting too far back.
Now, we will see in a little bit probably a rotation towards bot lane to get this bot side tower. Unlikely that we'll see the rotation towards top lane until at least a little bit later, because the top side tower is a little bit harder to get unless you get it really, really early. It's in a really awkward position on the map, and it makes it really hard to respond anywhere else. And Overdose Panda, while being strong, he still can't fully 1v1 Weminus because Weminus does a lot of damage and has really good sustain the lower his health gets.
Well, it's not just the sustain he gets when his health is low. The sustain is the same, actually, throughout his entire kit. It's the attack speed he gains and how that couples with his W that gives him more lifesteal as well. But either way, we have Surfon, again, setting up for this gank in the top lane. Overdose Panda's flash is already back up, but they're looking to possibly dive him here. It could hop away, and Kalzarin is there for another counter gank. A good flash from Surfon to be able to survive, and... You know, the ghost is burned, the ultimate is burned. I don't think Weminus needs to blow both in that, but Weminus and Surfon able to be... I
think the ghost was a panic.
Yes, I definitely agree that it was a panic, but you don't need a panic button when the primary CC from the combo is gone and you're Olaf.
Yeah, but, like, I think it was unfounded panic because he's not that far behind anybody, but... That would be why he used it. Now, on the plus side, Ragnarok has a relatively short cooldown, so it will be up again before he even needs to use it. He might not even get to lane before it gets back up.
This is true. But, taking stock of the lanes, there's only, despite the 3-kill lead, the early tower lead, and the early dragon, there is only a 2.5k gold lead coming out for Space Age Wizards. And that's because there's been a fantastic amount of farm from Encanda and Better Call Saul. They've had lane control in the spot lane the entire time, which is another reason I've kind of disagreed with all the focus here. There's some diving coming out. No one is going to look to follow Better Call Saul, but he goes very low, is able to flash around. But again, going back to my previous point, I don't know why Luckerdogs is so focused on getting Encanda ahead when Encanda is already very far ahead. Well, I mean, he's not now, but was very far ahead in lane control and lane CS.
Yeah, like, I think it's kind of going down from, oh, we messed up earlier and now we need to put Akanda back into the lead that.
Either way, we have Surfon ganking very early on. Webinos is already here in the back of the fight. It cannot be disabled. He's being chased down. Over to Panda is not able to get Mega. Kuro goes down, and this is going to be a first kill, possibly a double kill over to Akanda. But no, Overdose Panda is able to get enough damage and it forces Akanda to flash out. Wemnas does go down, and it's a 2-for-1 overall here. The mid laner is training a little bit, but oh, a nice view. They're trying to chase onto Shemeka. Shemeka is able to get out, but now Deadbeat's out of position. Is being locked up, cannot move, cannot follow. Surfon gets another kill, but here comes Overdose Panda in Meganar. He's able to chase, doing a lot of damage. This fight is going down, and Galzarin is able to pick up the kill. It's 1-1-5, and again, lands his ultimate perfectly, isolates the target, and is doing a fantastic job, a much better job than Zark did last game on this Sejuani.
I think it's kind of a weird pick, though, because when you think about it, they do have a team comp that's really good with this, but then their AoE damage threat is mostly from Deadbeat. So it's weird that you would want to fight Deadbeat anywhere near Sejuani. Like, anytime Sejuani is nearby, you don't want to be trying to pick off Deadbeat, because chances are you're not going to kill him before you get hit by the Glacial Prison. And if you get hit by the Glacial Prison, you're probably going to die.
I mean, I don't think it was as much trying to pick off Deadbeat there as Serpanga trying to reinforce his team with Surfon, Webinar, Akanda, and Better Call Saul fighting in that bot lane. And he was roaming down and then just got caught out. He was trying to back towards the blue buff area, but he was kind of he was threatened off by Deadbeat, and then just the Q into Glacial Pressure from Galzarin locks him up and forces him out of the fight. Doesn't actually get him killed, but forces him out.
No, I don't mean Shpenga, because Shpenga got caught out, and it did suck for Shpenga. I mean Surfon, because Surfon went in with Better Call Saul thinking, okay, we can fight them, but why do we think we can fight them? Because Surfon is tank Rek'Sai, has a Cinder Hulk, and is joined by Better Call Saul, who can't do any damage but provides CC. So, okay, Deadbeat is at, like, what, 2/3 of his health from the little bit of damage he sustained from Shpenga, and I'm not really sure why they expected to win that fight, because Deadbeat is not behind. Deadbeat has his upgraded Hex Core. Deadbeat has Morellonomicon. He's got Sork Shoes. He can do a lot of damage, particularly if you're fighting him right next to Galzarin. And they knew that Galzarin was there, because Galzarin was the way they managed to initiate onto Shpenga.
I mean, maybe they were thinking Galzarin has his ult down and he doesn't want to continue to fight. He doesn't have a lot of CC, doesn't have a lot of damage because he's also full tank. But there's a lot of ifs and buts, and there is an Alistair being thrown at Kurosekai. You need a lot more peel for Sinjil to live there, as Akanda and Better Call Saul get the pick onto Kuro there. But the Dragon goes over Acid Trade, and we have Webinos grabbing the top lane as well.
And it's like they just want to disengage. That's a good plan. There's not really much that they can do for Weminus. I think that probably their best option would have actually been to turn around and fight them, because Akanda wasn't there yet. He was coming, but he wasn't quite there yet. And Weminus doesn't have teleport. So, I'm not sure. I think that they could have potentially won that fight, but maybe not.
Either way, the Luckerdogs do a very good job of taking back control of the map. Oh, another all-in coming out for Shemega onto Deadbeat. A nice... You ultimate for Galzarin. Beautiful there. I'm sorry. I Why do people who I keep... Actually, this is a very good thing. Why do people I keep doubting with their champ picks, doubting with the playstyle, end up making these really big plays and doing very well? Galzarin has been fantastic entirely, but I'm completely fine with it because it means better quality games. Galzarin has done a fantastic job in the Sejuani. That was some great lockdown. But another turret goes down, and that's the turret lead over to Luckerdogs. And they've actually taken a gold lead off of this as well.
I think the funny thing about this, though, is when you think about the when you think about this as a Sejuani pick, do you ban Sejuani if they win because of the strength of it? Because it's not something that you would normally ban, because you can counterpick it. You can play things that maybe Sejuani doesn't want to get close to and fight. You can pick things that don't really care about being crowd controlled. So I'm not really sure what Luckerdogs is going to do here if the Sejuani becomes something they need to be scared of from Galzarin.
I don't think it's something I need to be scared of for Galzarin. Either way,
Deadbeat is being chased down here. There's a lot of damage. Great play from Tyser to kind of lock him up. Akanda is also aggressing onto Kuro in this bot lane here, and he's able to chase down and get a killing spree. And they're trying to chase. They're trying to get the last little bit of damage coming out. Misses the charm. Shabanga is able to eventually pick up Deadbeat, and this is Luckerdogs trying to aggress in the jungle. This is a 2-for-0 kill lead right now, and they're waiting for that charm. The charm does hit Tyser at the last second. W1S picks it up, and that is a 3-for-0.
You know,
fight that just kind of came out of nowhere.
Shabanga's flash there was like kind of a flash of defeat. Like, okay, I guess I will flash to kill you. Like, I missed everything else. I guess I have to flash now.
I mean, that's kind of the right way to approach it. It's does this work? Does this work? Does this work? Fine, this works.
Fine.
And there was no real threat of Deadbeat escaping otherwise because his flash was down, his ghost was down. You need to find a target that he could Q, get the move speed bonus, and walk out from that, or have his W up, which was up in a couple seconds, and Shabanga knew he could flash out on him before that happened anyway.
It's okay. But it's a slow and steady lead coming out from the Luckerdogs, which is good because they had the lead in the very early game, and then they made that really questionable tower dive for some reason, and they've just kind of been. It's been back and forth, but they've been kind of like on their back heels, and only just now have they managed to like reassert themselves and say, okay, we can fight now, as long as we don't get CC chained into Victor again.
Well, about the CC chaining, Akanda has already picked up a QSS, so it is going to be.
He's smart. He's not like the other people we've seen go against this. He's not going to get CC'd and not have a QSS.
The difference between the minor league and the major league when you buy your QSS. But either way, a good itemization choice coming up from Akanda here. Possibly Better Call Saul picking the Chaos Crucible down the line a little bit. Possibly someone else on the team trying to get a QSS, or just, you know, having an Olaf ult, having the Kalista ult to save people, or having the Ahri ult to hopefully not get locked down. I think this comp is very good coming up from Luckerdogs to deal with all of the CC chain coming out. Okay, we have a good flash coming out from Tyser, a good speed up coming out of a nice... Gazer's ult only hits one target here, but Overdose Panda is able to get on the backline, does a lot of damage. Akanda's able to free hit from the backline though. They are chasing down. Shabanga jumps over the wall. Is able to blow up Deadbeat. They're chasing on. Kuro eventually goes down. This is a triple kill coming out for Shabanga here on this Ahri. And an ace for Luckerdogs. Wow, a great fight there.
So just to kind of talk about why that went so insane for what seemed like no reason, because it seemed like for a second there Space Age Witchers had the advantage. They had the engage. They killed Better Call Saul really early, and they didn't really have to use a whole lot to kill it. But unfortunately, what happened was Akanda was on the side, and everybody else was diving the carries, so they had to protect their carries. So Akanda's just getting to use this Ravenous Hydra or not Ravenous Hydra, Rudon's Hurricane to full effect, and just stacking stuff on everybody. Rends everything out. Oh look, everybody's about to die now. And cleanup crew of Shabanga and Wemenis.
Yeah, and I mean, that was the first ultimate from Galsman that's only hit one target and would be a non-priority target in a full tank Rek'Sai. Just doing a fantastic job overall from the Luckerdogs of saying, okay, just wait, now turn. The big ultimates were down, the big chain CC coming out in this short burst team fight coming out from Space Age Wizards was gone, and they simply don't have the damage if they don't have the CC and the time to just free hit.
And, you know, normally I'm a little bit iffy about going for a Baron, particularly around this time, because they did have mid lane pushed up. They could have possibly gone for the tower instead. But removing the Baron off the map also means that they don't have to care if you go that side. They don't really care if you're going for Vision over there, because why would they? Baron's not there. Oh, hello, Overdose Panda. Enjoy taking a bunch of damage from Shabanga.
Yeah,
but tactical headbutt.
The tactical headbutt. But this is the first dragon going over for Luckerdog. They have controlled this map. They're probably going to look to pressure down mid. Would like to see a split push aspect coming out from them, because it's really hard to siege against this Victor, who's able to just instantaneously clear these waves.
I have to think that they might be contemplating diving the Victor, and I have to question the wisdom in that, but I guess we'll find out in a moment.
Yeah, with all of the ultimates coming down from it. But
we did just see Nar go back.
Yeah, we did just see Nar go back. He doesn't have his ultimate. He does have the teleport, but with the charm, Galzarian goes down.
Another reason Sejuani's not played too often. She does have the technique. And that's a fast Olaf spreading that back line. They're looking to dive this year, but they're trying to pull back. Better Call Saul's left all alone. Tizer does get hit by the charm there, but a beautiful knockup being hit by Serpent on the 2 targets. Overdose Beta is doing as much work as he can on the backline, but there's simply too many threats, too many people to chase down, and another triple kill going over to Shipanga on this Arya, and an ace coming out for Luckerdogs.
So they traded Better Call Saul early. He tanked the tower for a decent amount of time, but if you notice, he didn't actually use Unbreakable Will. He was just tanking that to tank it, I guess.
I think Unbreakable Will was on cooldown during the fight.
Yeah, it might have been on cooldown, but it was still entertaining to see him like kind of flailing about.
Galzern's doing his best with the minimal damage Sejuani does to try to lock up Akanda, try to still save this game. They're close, but yeah, that's the game. Going over to Luckerdogs, and the first win of the season, and the first loss for the Space Age Wizards in House Party 5v5.
Well, still a really good play overall. We did see a lot of good plays coming out from Galzern. A little bit of cleaning up, maybe possibly fighting a team comp that doesn't kind of go well against theirs might help them in the future, but congratulations to Luckerdogs on your first win in the new season. We are going to be setting up the next game. We will see you guys in a bit.
Welcome everybody, we got a house party 5v5. This is the third game of week 1 in the Premier League Season 4. On the blue side, we've got White Lightning versus on the red side, Vanquished.
This is going to be one crazy showdown. These are the two teams, White Lightning at least, one of the teams in the grand finals of last season, and Vanquish, a phoenix reborn from the ashes of the other team in the finals, Sky High. So these two titans from above going to be going at it once again. I'll be your play-by-play caster, Captain Flowers.
And I'll be your color caster, I'm Thunderdome. And we've got quite a few bans here. Targeted Yasuo ban against Hobbs. He is so proficient on these AD assassins, they have got to take that off the table. As well as Callista, Christina, great carry. Just demolishes teams on her.
A lot of respect coming out from these two teams. You can tell from these targeted style bans. If these were solo queue style bans, you'd see Juggernauts, you'd see Gangplank, you'd see Fiora. But there's none of that this game. These teams know what they're up against, and they know what they have to answer.
And so the instant Elise picked up another powerful pick in the meta, not exactly a Juggernaut, but has so much early game gank potential as well as kill pressure, counter jungle pressure, great clear, great sustain. Elise has got everything going for her. She's one mad lady.
Gnar also being hovered over on the side of Vanquished. A popular champion, even if he's dropped out recently in terms of solo queue and what you see on the general ladder. Competitive has never stopped having a soft spot in its heart for the little Yordle. His ability to make plays in teamfights as well as lane relatively safely versus most picks, except for that Yasuo, which is already ever so conveniently banned, keeps him always in the eyes, on the side for these competitive teams.
As well as Thresh, he has such great pick potential. He can engage, he can peel, he can save you via Dark Passage, give you a little rat on the lantern right back to the warm cuddling arms of your team and away from that scary enemy. He can set down the box for zone as well, and with Echo, Victor, and Alistar off the table, Purple Team, Vanquished, is going to have a lot harder time controlling these fights via zoning. That's why Thresh and Gnar are so potent picks this early on in the drafting phase.
Vayne and Janna going to be hovered here on the side of White Lightning, and the hover is not even the word I'm looking for. They're going to lock those in completely fearlessly. Flex picked into that. Could be a potential difficulty for Vayne. It's going to definitely be a challenge, a gauntlet for her to run to really show off her skills, having to maneuver around the utility and the lockdown that's already present on this Vanquished squad.
Aside from Kristina's mechanical ability, Simkrev is great on these Peel-style champions. He's played a lot of Janna and ranked. They practiced it as a team. White Lightning's been a squad for a while, so these two are going to have such innate synergy going into this match. That's why they locked it in instantaneously. It's just a vote of confidence for their team. However, Vanquish taking a lot more time with their picks, maybe just because they're strategizing more. They don't want to make any hasty decisions here with a game. The initial game of the season for each of these teams, there's a lot riding on their shoulders.
I love both of these picks coming out onto the side of Vanquished. Tristana is a champion who can still bully Vayne around in lane. The power of that explosive shot in trades going to be able to bully her out early, outdo her in those early trades, and make it so she's not allowed to just farm up for that mid game she wants. And at the same time, Evelynn, a wonderful champion to flank behind and make sure that that hyper carry doesn't become that hyper.
Well played, sir. As well as Evelynn kind of counteracts Elise. Jigstick LP is going to want to make these big early game plays on the Spider to try and get their team snowballing, but Cat the Cougar is going to be that thought, the afterthought, or the forethought in their mind. Is Elise here? Is she waiting in the bush? Is she right around the corner? We don't know where she is, so they're going to have to get some deep wards to counteract Vanquish's pressure. Elise doesn't even need to show. If Elise does not show on the map or they do not find her, sorry, Elise, if Evelynn does not show up on the map and they're unable to find her on the starting clear, then Vanquish is going to have, I imagine, an easier time in the early game because they've got just so much more map pressure with the unknown.
I love the fact that this is essentially a showdown rematch between the two top teams of last season, because with the amount of flex in the picks that White Lightning is doing, you would think they've got their computers wired up at the gym. These guys aren't hovering any of their champions. They know what they want. They're insta-locking it in, and it's a mind game. They're saying, we're so confident. We know what we're doing. We don't have to adjust. And that's got to be a good sign for them to boost their team morale. They know what they're doing. They know how they're going to do it, and all the squads are locked in now.
Let's see if Sky High can hit White Lightning with that Flexi. Oh, sorry, Vanquish. They've rebranded from Sky High to Vanquish. They got second place Premier League Season 3. White Lightning, they're holding the belt. They've got that crown. First place Season 3 champions of the Premier League. This is going to be explosive. And exactly like Tristana wants you, it's going to bust you.
A lot of this game, I think, is going to come down to the performance on Kristina on this Vayne. If you look at the picks across the White Lightning squadron, you've got a support-style top laner, you've got a support-style mid laner, you've got a very peel-intensive support, and then you've got a jungler who's all about supplying your team with that early pressure. They're depending on Vayne to do well in these fights throughout the mid-game, throughout the late game, and just become a monster that they can peel for so she can dismantle this enemy team all on her own.
And also, Orianna and Janna both got shields. Maokai has a damage reduction. Maokai can either engage or start peeling. Elise is probably primarily going to be jumping in on enemy 271 to try and make Tristana not focus the carries and distract her for as long as they can while Vayne and Orianna rip through the fights. Counteract this, however, Vanquished just got Cat the Cougar and Alcantos ready to flank, ready to pick off Kristina or Hobbs, whoever is going to be the most vulnerable, and that's why Hobbs has picked up Cleanse.
I'm definitely, in the same way that I said I was looking for Kristina to be the player to watch on the side for White Lightning, I'm going to say that on the side of Vanquish, it's going to be Alcantos. If he can find the flank, if he can find the positioning for those Ahri spells, it can be really tricky sometimes to Spirit Rush into the right place, find the charm, get the orb out so it bounces with both hits. But if he can find the damage and melt this Vayne at the onset of a fight, it completely dismantles what White Lightning's trying to pull off.
And we're going to see how far ahead Christine and Simkev can come out in comparison to Enemy and Simrim. Simrim has played a lot of Thresh and Ranked. Right now, he has got... Oh, sorry, that was his Morgana stat. Never mind, but he's pretty good on Thresh. It's his most played, so... I'm definitely going to expect to see a lot of style coming out of their bottom lane squad on Vanquished. And Tristana does have an easier laning phase than Vayne. That's something to keep in mind.
So many champions like Draven, like Graves, like Corki, like all those champions that used to bully Vayne around early are champions that have been hit with the nerf bat over and over and over again to the point where Vayne has a much easier time getting out of that early game that was supposed to be her weakness than she used to have. And with Tristana's remake having that explosive shot being such a powerful trading tool, Tristana actually became a lot better of a laner once she managed to get that under her belt. And the fact that they picked that into the Vayne, they saw the Vayne pick and they think, hey, we're not going to let this farm. We want to shut this down at all phases of the game. I really like Vanquish team comp.
Yeah, Vanquished has a lot of hidden AoE. Elise, when she drops the... Sorry, wow, I keep calling Evelyn Elise. That's going to get confusing for our listeners. Elise... Evelyn...
Twice in a row!
Evelyn has AoE. Ari's got... Speaking of charms, AoE with the Orb Deception, Foxfire, Spirit Rush. Nar's got AoE, and Tristana has AoE, so if White Lightning missteps and groups up, Vanquish is going to have an easy time blowing him up.
All right, guys, we are about to enter that loading screen. As soon as the loading passes, we will be live on Summoner's Rift for White Lightning versus the former Sky High squad, now renamed Vanquished. Stay right there. You aren't going to want to miss it. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live here on Summoner's Rift. It's a House Party 5v5 Premier League match. We are just now starting the Premier League up once again. This is going to be game number 3 here in Season 4 of the Premier League. It's White Lightning versus Vanquished. I'll be your play-by-play caster, Captain Flowers.
And I'll be your color caster, Thunderdome. On the blue side, we've got reigning champions White Lightning, Senpai playing Maokai in the top lane, Chickstig LP on Elise in the jungle, Hobbs playing Oriana in the mid lane, Kuristina playing Vayne at AD carry, and Simkev repping that Janna.
Their opponents, Vanquished, formerly hailing as Sky High, over on the side of the red. They're going for an early invade, but their enemy 271 on Tristana, Simrim keeping him safe on Thresh, Cat the Cougar prowling around in the jungle on Evelyn, Alcantos looking for the kill on Ahri mid lane, and Calfin determining the outcome of the team fights on that top lane Gnar.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
This is going to be so explosive. They've already gone for these deep invades. They've got the Evelyn under their belt, Vanquished making the early moves. They're like, hey, you guys want to scale Maokai? You want to scale Vayne? Well, we're going to take control of this early game. We're going to know exactly where you are. We're going to make our moves based off these pieces of information, and we're going to come out on top. We're not going to let you get to that late game.
I love the early wards being placed down on the side of Vanquished. They want to know exactly what's going on with these movements by White Lightning through their jungle. They're going to catch out lane swaps. They're going to catch if the jungler starts at one of these camps. And it's really a heads-up play coming out of them, making sure they've got all the information they could possibly work with.
And blue side, White Lightning sitting so far back in their jungle. They don't want to get caught out by this 5-man roaming squad, which has dispersed as of now. But you just see how much respect showing to each other right now.
These teams are coming off of the end of last season, realizing that they are the biggest competition for each other, and now the fact that they get to meet in Game 1 is going to set a gold standard for what we're looking for in terms of action in games. I'm looking forward for this to be a bloodbath, and hopefully it will as the teams start off and the minions start to collide.
Yeah, another player to keep an eye out on is Hobbs. He is amazing at this game. One of my heroes coming out of House Party 5v5. his mechanical ability, decision making is just so. Oh, I'm like at a loss for words. I'm amazed every time I watch the guy play.
Thresh and Tristana finding some aggression onto Vayne and Janna in the bot side, even as early as level 1. A lot of times you see these bot laners go in for that level 2 power spike, but who needs it when you know you can bully them around without even having to have that second level?
And Alcanto's doing a great job using Ahri's auto attacks to poke him down. Ahri has such a quick rate of fire that you can just pound those out on him, and that forced Hobbs to start Command Protect at level, well, not start it, use it at level 2. So he can at least get out harass free when it's turn for level 3, where he can actually start making some moves to pressure Alcantos.
So much aggressive positioning from Simrim. You can constantly see him skating around the edge of those creep waves. He's always positioning himself in a way that gives him a straight line death sentence if he can find it onto either of these enemies. Janna and Vayne, neither one's a bad pull. If you can manage to death sentence either one of those, Tristana throws down the explosive charge, gets an auto or two, you're going to win a trade.
And that's just showing how ahead Vanquish is starting out in this early game. Because of Simrim's zone control, Vayne is down 6 CS already.
Elise positioning up around middle. The pings were coming out onto the side of Vanquish. They knew she was there, and they're doing a good job of preventing this early pressure that comes out from an Elise pick. They have to make sure that she doesn't allow these lanes to snowball if they want to reach the mid game and be in a solid position.
And Cat the Cougar roaming around probably topside next on Evelynn. He saw that Senpai has pushed the wave up to the turret, so it's probably going to bounce to reset near the middle. That ward in the tri-bush is not going to help him. You cannot see Elise unless she is near you or in action.
Cat the Cougar now positioning possibly for that Maokai gank, but it's not going to be something he's able to find a whole lot on, especially early. Early game, Gnar actually struggles in the damage department. He doesn't actually do that much until he's Mega Form or until he has some items in the Mini Form. So the damage, not a huge threat. They'll have to see if they can at least blow something from this Maokai. This Thresh into the bot lane, looking to play once again so
and
aggressively.
Cat the Cougar has shown herself.
It's going to be Evelynn onto the top side. Maokai now the target of these two. They will be able to find some damage, but the flash has not yet been popped. Now going to finally get it. The frenzy will trigger, and Maokai walks away barely alive.
And Chickstig LP looked, she was trying to go bottom lane near around that time, but hesitated and backed off, and would have been maybe able to make something happen due to Cat the Cougar showing top lane. But that's a lot of pressure on the top side of the map.
The gank in the mid lane. Elise is there. She's got the bite. Can Ahri get away? The repel is up. That's going to be first blood. Going over to White Lightning. The early jungle power shows up here at the 5-minute mark.
From both teams.
Oh, the death sentence next onto Vayne. The shield is there. Tristana trying to find that explosive shot. It's not going to do a whole lot. They do manage to disengage this one, but a wonderful grab coming out from Thresh.
Yeah, Simrim is just so strong on this champion. It shows why they picked him first round. Just that confidence that's going to carry him through the lane, carry him through the team fights as well. And to touch on that early jungle pressure, Cat the Cougar had a great gank top lane, forced Senpai splash. However, they did not come up with a kill. And Chickstig LP, able to put the gank down mid lane, Alcantos falls to the Spider Queen at the expense of his flash as well.
Big difference between getting the flash and getting away, and then getting the flash and still dying. It's a huge loss if you burn that flash and they still manage to come up with the kill on you. Then you have to play more afraid in the future without that resource to expend should you need it.
Exactly. The return gank is so potent. It gets in the opponent's head. First off, they're playing more defensively because they don't have flash, but when you show up again, when that's not on cooldown, that can tilt a player. Even if they try to keep a positive mindset about it, that just weighs on you as the game goes on.
Ahri going very aggressive onto Orianna in the mid lane. Evelynn's here as well to try to help her out. They're going to be able to drop the smite. They've got the ignite. They've got the spirit rush. And Orianna, the robotic lady, rusts over into nothing. 6 minutes in. That's the return kill as Vanquish ties it up.
Alcantos getting a little bit of revenge in the mid lane there, using that Trixie Foxy lady and the Invisible Woman to steal that for their team.
Thresh trying to find another death sentence bot side. That is going to miss wide right. Tristana dropping that explosive charge onto the one without the shield. However, Vayne now coming back with a lot of damage. They find the tornado. They find the silver bolts. They actually win out in that trade. Well played onto the side of White Lightning.
Did you see that Tristana was forced to jump away, using her Gaposer defensively, unable to dish out damage so she didn't get procced on the triple one? Oh, but here comes Cat the Cougar. He's prowling.
Cougar looking for the flank. It's going to be the flash forward with the flame, but they will not be able to connect it. Defensive flash coming out from Vayne to escape that death sentence means that Evelynn is going to have to walk away sad.
Hey, but they got a summoner for summoner. You'd rather have the AD carry, enemy AD carry summoner down than your supports up. So they do come out on top there.
Absolutely. Both junglers also going for that aggressive jungle item build. Runeglaive going to be the gem of choice to insert into these jungle items as Evelynn gets spotted out by Elise here in the river. The repel is going to come down. This is not a 1v1 that Evelynn wants to take as the spider starts munching down on her. A little bit of hate spike damage coming out in return as Elise forced to disengage this one under the threat of Ahri.
We could be looking at a 4v4 here. We got teleports up on both top laners as well.
Janna and Vayne collapsing on towards Thresh. Now the Chilling Smite is down. He could be the target. He does not have the flash. It was expended earlier in the bot lane. The heal comes out, trying to keep him alive. But Kuristina going to be able to find the credit for that one. That's going to be the second kill of the game. Going over to White Lightning. The fight is disengaged. But the blue side coming up big. Gnar going aggressive onto Maokai in the top lane, but just walking back afterwards.
Labu member number 4 comes up with the kill. Sorry, I love his name. It's a reference to my favorite show, Steins Gate. Gotta give that some props. Gonna give a little shout out there. Everyone should watch that if you haven't seen it yet. It's just as exciting as these house party 5v5 games are.
And that's saying something. Ahri landing another charm onto Orianna here in the mid lane, doing a good job of bullying around early. But speaking of bullying, Gnar is straight up walking up to Maokai and demanding his lunch money on the playground, almost doubling his CS just 8 minutes into the game.
Yeah, it's such a huge differential, and it just shows how the auto attack, for instance, melee range versus the auto attack from a range. And Gnar coming up huge. Calfin almost doubling that CS 9 minutes into this game. He's going to have so much more effect. It's going to delay Maokai's tankiness, and they're going to be able to make a lot more plays around the top side of the map just due to the pressure he's going to have. Gnar has pretty solid wave clear in comparison to Maokai if Maokai is behind.
Maokai also a double Doran's Ring start. Not actually going into a full item straight away, so that's going to set him even further behind into actually getting these team fight items and being that huge 5v5 presence that he wants to be come the mid game.
And Hobbs showing so much Spectral Kantos, does not want to fight him out in the middle, where Ahri has so much more room to maneuver. She can be spirit rushing left and right, flashing around, and yes, Orianna does provide a little bit of AoE zone control, but Ahri's just so slippery and she has so many movements.
The game very, very close across the board right now, with the exception of that Maokai and Gnar difference in farm. Everywhere else is within a couple of each other. 75 to 73 mid, 72 to 67 bottom, 33 to 24, a little bit bigger of an advantage in the jungle. But these teams are so close right now. It's a 1 kill difference with only 200 gold keeping them apart.
And Elise and Evelynn have both finished their Runeglaive. Evelynn going with the Skirmishers just to have that prioritize the 1v1 potential. You get the extra 2 damage, you get that burn, you get the damage reduction, whereas Elise is more trying to set up for her team, going with the Stalk Blade so she can slow them down in terms of stealing their movement speed and get to these key targets quicker than you will be able to.
Evelynn into the bot lane. Thresh going to be looking to set this one up. If the Death Sentence connects, that's almost surely going to be success. Evelynn now behind
my
the
gosh,
members of
there
White
she
Lightning.
is.
The Ravage is down. Can they find the Death Sentence? That's going to connect. Oh, the explosive charge is down. The Monsoon keeps her alive, but the flash forward, that's going to be a kill onto this AD carry as Vanquish ties the game up once again. Gnar going aggressive into the top side onto Maokai, throwing him backwards. The tower doing so much damage here as Maokai might actually be able to find the win in this 1v1. The Arcane Smash, there's the detonation of the ultimate, but he's out of mana. Gnar, in retaliation, the Frenzy procs. He needs a little bit more. Will the Boomerang connect? One more auto is going to do it, but the little Yordle forced to back away for the time being. He wants this kill.
The little Yordle who could. I have faith.
The Boomerang connects, but Maokai surviving with less than 100 HP for the time being. He jumps in. The Boomerang connects for the second time, and that's going to be the third kill of the game, going over to Vanquish.
The Death Sentence
connects onto the blue side, into the bot lane. It's going to be White Lightning now being forced to flash away defensively. The ball comes out trying to zone them away, but it's still Vanquish on top of the dragon, dropping down
Here
now.
comes
Below
Hobbs.
1400 HP. Can they grab it? Elise is here. Evelynn is here.
Oh, the
Orianna
2-man.
Shockwave connects, and Evelynn is absolutely deleted. It's going to be Elise dropping very, very low from the Ignite, but it's going to be Ahri now dying, now trying to find the follow-up kill. Excuse me. They're forced to disengage this one. A bloodbath all over the map. 4-3 now, the team score after all of that, and the dragon does not get taken by either side.
That was amazing. Unfortunately, Calfin did have to burn his teleport at the end there just to zone off to stop any future kills coming in after that exchange. But it's okay because Senpai's teleport was already off cooldown. That gives the teleport advantage in the future to White Lightning, though, because iSenpai was able to teleport to a turret last time and gets the reduced cooldown. If you look at the AD carry CS differential right now, Christina is up 9 CS on Tristana. That is not what you want to see if you're on the side of Vanquished. Enemy needed to come out of this laning phase stronger because Vayne will outscale Tristana. Tristana still has the power to push these turrets in the mid game a lot more effectively than anybody on the blue side will. But Janna gets caught.
Connects onto Janna. Thresh trying to find the damage here. He's got the lantern onto Evelynn. They want to get into this 2v2, but Vayne with Final Hour going to be able to turn it around very, very quickly. If they don't watch what they're doing, the Evelynn ultimate is dropped immediately. It's going to be another death sentence looking to connect onto Vayne, but both sides disengage with nobody going down.
Alright, and both teams prepping for the dragon. Vanquished gets there. They burn the ult on Vayne, so they've got that going for them if they want to make this fight happen.
Tristana being forced to jump away defensively as Vayne playing so aggro bot side. She's found that advantage and she's no longer afraid of these trades. Speaking of trades, top side, Maokai's got a Warden's Mail, Nar's got a completed Black Cleaver. That lane is continuing to spiral out of control for the tree.
It's 50 CS to 100. He has literally doubled him 13 minutes into the game. Calvin is just going to become this push monster, and he's going to keep iSenpai down, and iSenpai is not going to be able to be that massive frontliner they need until very late in this game. And hopefully, for White Lightning's sake, it will not too late. But Vanquish coming up strong. They were the underdogs going into this. They got second place in the Season 3 for our Premier League, and White Lightning got first place. So Vanquish sitting in a great spot right now to keep this train rolling.
One thing I'm surprised we haven't seen yet, Thunder, we're 14.5 minutes into this game, and every single tower on the Rift still standing strong.
That's just a side effect how good these teams are at rotating. When one person gets caught out, multiple members are responding. They're sending help. They're protecting the right objectives. When there's a move to be made on Dragon, both teams are sending enough people there. They're not getting out-rotated. They are just responding so well to each other.
Definitely something we're going to have to look at is which team is going to be able to find that key rotation, that one that the other team can't respond to effectively, to be able to actually start finding these objectives. This game is so close that if one team can break away and find a nice little advantage for themselves, they're going to be able to potentially snowball it into something way bigger.
They say a game of chess is like sword fight.
Evelynn trying to steal away the red buff. Elise trying to steal away the red buff. Evelynn, as Ahri finds the return damage, the charm into the Spirit Orb connects. Can they find the kill? It's going to be the smite being dropped. Gnar finding that boomerang to try to slow them down, but a wonderful shockwave on the 3. Elise now still in the middle of everyone, and that's going to be a kill. Going over on the Cat the Cougar. Ahri still in hot pursuit. It's going to be Hobbs dropping number 2. Alcantos picks up his 3rd kill of the game.
That was just such great positioning. They invaded on the red, but they didn't respect the rotation from Calvin. With their top laner, iSenpai, being so far behind, he had the wave pushed in on him. He could not respond in time. Calvin shows up, he goes mega, forces one flash from Hobbs. Chigstig LP rolled up, but was just left for dead. Even though Hobbs got the glorious 3-man shockwave, it just wasn't enough to keep both of them alive. Alcantos chasing down for the kill, picks up his 3rd of the game.
A potential strong play when you have an early jungler like Elise who has the ability to control and duel and 1v1. The desire to steal those buffs away is always very strong, but counter jungler